Gods and goddesses in training, welcome back to the channel. My name is Uncle Makara. Let's get started with today's video. This is the hidden secret of your spiritual journey, okay? Now, I want to talk about this because I think that this is very, very essential. Let's take the name of our spiritual brand, Primal Sutra, okay? A technology that takes you back to primal again. And why is doing that so important, guys? The reason why that's so essential is because we start from the root. We start from the Muladhara, which means root support. You know, a lot of people ask me, why did I come back to India from traveling the world, you know, and growing up in various places for my master's, for my university and stuff. And my answer is simple. Would you not want to live in a place that's called the reign of orgasmic light? Okay? That's what India means. And I knew that I had to come back here because I needed to connect to my roots. So being here is a launch pad for me. Now, Bharata, or Bharat, comes from Kamadeva, who's the Hindu Cupid, okay? The Indian god of love, who Shiva assassinated, right? Coming back as Bharata, which India is named after Kamadeva. Think about that, bro. That gives me so much inspiration, but also understand something. The secret of your spiritual journey is VIRYA. VIRYA is this quality of courage, of warriorship. It's that grit of your spiritual essence and journey. It is your self-control. It's your ability to say no. It's your ability to really come back down to your truth, divinity, and power again. And this is stored at the base of your spine. So right where your tailbone ends, that's the area, like that soft spot. Okay, that's the root chakra. Now, if you make it a very useful practice, okay, put this mudra on your lap and just say Lam, okay, L-A-M, Lam. If you just repeat that and you work on this process for 1 week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, you start to notice a difference. You'll start to notice yourself getting less sick. And I understood this, man. I'm feeling very sick today, actually. And this is what actually gave me this download today, okay? It's a very powerful download. It's this understanding that conformity blocks that virya, right? Victimhood blocks that virya. A feeling like there's injustice happening, that's blocking your virya, okay? Now, I'm not saying there isn't injustice, but if justice is served to the powerful, so that means you're lacking in power right now, which is why you're like, this is unjust. Because really you're saying, I feel powerless to change it. And this also blocks your virya. So understand, right? The frames that you adopt on your spiritual journey is either going to make this thing grow and glow, or it's going to make it shrink. We need it to be at least like 100 meters connected through the earth, right? That's how we want our root chakra, that strong, that foundational, so we can rise to the top. Every single school of thought, walk of life, you know, religion, it's the same journey, man, okay? It's the same journey. Just the rising of consciousness up. So the first thing to understand is you got to protect your root, which means you got to have standards, boundaries. So there's something called your itihasa, which is basically your personal history, okay? It's the story you tell yourself based on your life. And that actually has the power to shape your subtle body, depending on the story that you tell yourself. So one way to autocorrect this is to join a spiritual lineage, okay? Me personally, my father is my guru. Luckily, in this lifetime, I've been able to procure that and understand that. So I'm a part of the Kadampa lineage, right? So Primal Sutra ultimately gets underneath that lineage. So think about it. The J. Tsongkhapa's lineage is now underneath the surface of Primal Sutra because clearly I'm learning from my father. Now, what gets rid of virya? Well, also ejaculation and periods for women, okay? So for men, ejaculation, for women, it's periods. There is a subtle process you can do to lock the energy into the Muladhara. I can show you what that is. Basically, you put a finger into your belly button, into your navel, okay? So kind of like this. And then you put it clockwise 36 times. So these are the numbers of the moon and the sun. So this is like 36 times anti-clockwise for women, 28 times clockwise then for women. For men, it's 36 times clockwise and 28 times anti-clockwise, okay? So that's gonna lock it, all that energy in, and then you can use breath work, use the anal lock or the mulabandha, root lock, and then you can pull the energy up to the top of your head. The Dr. Joe Dispenza breath kind of does this in a certain way, okay? And now it's becoming more of a science, so we're able to merge this tech, okay? In our path working, we refer to it sometimes as the jungle breath. Shout out to Voy. And this is one way that you can activate your virya, right? So one way is just this mudra with Lam, okay? You could also use this tech that we recently discovered. So if you have a song stuck in your head, just hum the tune with Lam instead, right? So use the Bij mantra or the seed mantra of each chakra point, especially if you have a chakra dominant path working. We can talk about that later, obviously, but if you're interested to learn more about this, how you can find your own spirit guides, how you can go on this journey of your spiritual journey, you can always shoot me a message, primalsutramysteryschool.com. Go check that out. And we also have a retreat coming up in New Zealand, so definitely ask about that, get details about that, okay? So you got to pull the virya up to the head, then it becomes tejas. Without the virya, you're gonna be a beta male, dude. You guys get that? You're gonna be so you're gonna be wimpy, you're gonna have this horrible, neurotic state of mind where everything feels like, oh, I don't know, like this uncertainty, this fear. So my one advice is join a spiritual lineage that does not promote a loss of virya. So, hey, a movement that's practicing, retaining their seed, or a movement where, again, the Vajra practitioners, obviously, they believe in some form of, maintaining that growth. And of course, there's this Taoist diet, it depends on age, right? For me personally, I like to have sex without ejaculation, okay? I've trained myself to that point. That's a very different process, of course. You can learn this as well, but I think once you learn how to have internal orgasms, right, instead of ejaculations, it's more injaculation, right? So once you learn how to do that, you can basically, you nut up your spine and you send energy, the virya, up to the top of the head and where it gets stored, okay? It's like a storage unit, storage center. So by the time where the kundalini actually travels up there, there's a expansion. Now your samarthi is like your energy field, okay? And it can take on different forms. So just like it, I have maybe a Sobek crocodile form in terms of my aura. So let's say, for example, Lord Garuda was channeled by Ryan G. Lord Garuda has the power to protect, right? And so if his samarthi or energy field took on the Garuda's energy field in that moment, he'd be able to tap into that rupa or that form swiftly, right? And be able to actually use the technologies of the actual auric field itself. I want you guys to be productive, right? And productivity, the way I define it at least, is doing more in less time. So once you tap into the flow state, my friends, you will actually access this gift because you will feel like you're doubling your productivity, tripling your productivity. Why? Because you love doing it, you're enjoying it, you let go of this ego construct of it has to be this way, or, you're nitpicky about it. No, you're just in it, right? And once you learn how to tap into that musha and tap into that flow state, which is what this channel has been all about since day one, it's slowly emerging as a byproduct of that. If you are advanced in your spiritual practitionership, okay, and you've really gone through the levels of the spiritual journey, you'll start to notice that your anahata, or your heart chakra, starts to connect with earth itself. And your spine literally becomes the axis of the earth. So your magnetic north is the earth's. Now, what is a way on your spiritual journey where you follow dharma and not adharma? Adharma is basically opposite of dharma, right? It's like you're missing the point. You're going the different way. If you are protected and in dharma, you got to understand, good communication is a way that you stay in dharma. And what is good communication? Internally I decide, externally I agree. What's the opposite of that? Indecisiveness and disagreement. Those are the two things blocking your throat chakra. And this is what I've discovered today. With this sore throat, I'm disagreeing with certain things and I'm being indecisive about certain things. Therefore, it's manifesting in this sore throat of mine. This was my realization today. And then if you stack that good communication with your meditation, then you get access to this bhavishya, which is basically future projection, future vision through your ajna or anya, third eye, okay? Third eye visions. And of course, you have the crown, which it's actually said, why is it the 1,000-petaled lotus, right? Well, the lotus is coming from the feet of Shiva and Parvati, which is your left and right hemisphere, kind of, right, in a sense, but it's like, that's the energy. So the more you meditate, the more you wash their feet, therefore getting more blessings. Once you really strengthen the root, you'll start to get the other steps. So you have the root, and then you take it into the solar plexus, where emotional healing actually starts and your spiritual journey begins. Boom. Right? You get back into your senses again. You become sensitive. And a lot of people, they're like, oh, I'm an empath, and they get sidetracked in this process. And then, of course, you have where the VIRYA sits sometimes, which is the Manipura. This ability to, say yes, no, yes, no, yes, no. And so this point of your identity, your identification, it starts to form. This is where you feel at your core. Then it rises up to the heart, where you start feeling again. So I'm doing, I'm feeling, I'm taking action, at the same time fostering compassion, okay? And of course, I mentioned the throat chakra, okay? Make sure you have the filter correct, okay? Because Visuddhi means filter. And now you take it up to the third eye, future visions, crown, blessings. This is the entire spiritual journey, but VIRYA is that real life force energy, right? That warrior energy that you need to tap into, that grit. So if your parents are like forcing you into doing some job, it's gonna block your VIRYA, Imagine like you're stuck in some dead-end job somewhere, or you're like really in a shitty relationship and you're just harboring resentment for the other person, right? That's gonna actually close your energy field down, if you think about it, right? So sometimes we have to rely on this channeling ability, or this automatism, to actually access these hidden spiritual gifts. This is what I've understood, at least, and it's helped me create more clarity. Basically, if your spiritual journey is creating more confusion rather than clarity for you, you need to change things up, okay? Because really, this journey should be very automatic for you. Once you start to begin and you understand, like, okay, Lam, Vam, Ram, right? I mean, look up the beach mantras for each chakra point, right? Very easy thing to do. And according to your main chakra path, you just start chanting that over and over again, okay? You can add a mudra to amplify as well. You can look up heart chakra mudra, third eye mudra, and you can start this journey. Now, I take you through a process of actually clearing the gunk from each chakra point using energy work. If that's something that you're interested in, now that was my old program called Flomo Sapien. I'm still doing that. So if you are interested in that, let me know. If you need something more fine-tuned, I would suggest you become an adept, join the mystery school, where you can ask me much more personably. and join this journey, okay? So I hope you enjoyed this. Have an incredible day. May the flow be with you and stay legendary. Let's go. Upward spiral, gang.